Hello friends, it's Michelle with Creative Michelle, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're not, welcome back. And today it is Wednesday, so I'm going to do a few things. First, I have a pattern test that I'm going to do. I'll tell you about that in a moment. I have a few whips that I'm going to try to get done. I do have a Palmstreet this weekend, so I'm trying to finish up some whips that I have and prepare for that, trying to do some things that are different, not the normal, but I'll tell you more about that. So if any of that interests you, stick around and see what we've got going on today. First, we're going to do the pattern test. It is an acorn. Let me get you turned around here. So this is the pattern, and it is going to be a free pattern, I believe, on Instagram, and it's sponsored by a few people. Can't really pronounce those. I will put it up on the screen though, so you can see who that was. This is scheduled to come out this week, so you will be able to get a copy on their page. But it's a Jellycat inspired acorn. That's what I'm going to be working on. So I'm just getting this started, and I am going to right now go ahead and look over the pattern for any type of grammatical or spelling errors and row counts, and then I will go ahead and start the pattern itself. So let me take a look at that, and I'll come back and let you know if I found anything. Okay, so I did look over the pattern, and I found one thing so far, and that is that the slip stitch that is mentioned in the pattern is not listed in the abbreviations. I'm gonna go ahead and put that comment in now, and then I will get started on the actual pattern itself. Everything else looked good. I didn't find any spelling errors, any row count errors, anything like that. So that is good. And now it's just a matter of working the pattern to make sure I get the end result of what the photo looks like and if mine looks similar. Forgot to tell you that I am going to use Premier Basics Chenille in steel cut oats for the body portion, and then caramel or caramel, whichever one that you say it, potato, right? But caramel in the for the top portion and for the legs. And then I have some green back there. I'll probably use this green, you can't see it anyway, and I'll use a green that's over there for the leaf part. I'm going to start with my 6.5 millimeter O-Fire hook, but if it gives me too big of holes, then I will change it to a 6 millimeter. So I'm playing around with my tension a little bit with my hands been hurting so bad. I'm trying not to do so tight and trying to get a looser stitch, but I want to make sure I also don't have any holes. So the 6 might have to work for that, but I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I will do a little bit of a time lapse, just a little bit, to show you the process of the pattern testing. So here we have some repeat rounds where we are repeating for, let's see, 6 rounds altogether. So what I do to make it easier on myself is once I do the first round and then a few stitches in the second round, then I will go ahead and take one of these little stitch markers, just the regular stitch marker that you can get at any craft store, Amazon, and I will go ahead and put it through the first stitch of that first round where I do my repeat rounds. And then that way I don't have to sit there and try to count or keep forgetting where I'm at in my row counts. And I can easily go back and be like, okay, I need to do 6 rounds, and then I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you know, whatever, to see where I'm at. So I don't have to continuously be counting. It just helps so I can easily look at it and be like, okay, this is my first round. here's my second round, and then I know I need to do how many more rounds after I count up from there. See Stormy over here trying to attack my yarn. Yesterday was a day full of Stormy getting into my yarn as much as possible, but here we go. We have 5 more rounds of single crochets to do on this. Again, this is a free pattern, and it will be available on Instagram for you to be able to make your own Jellycat inspired acorn. So I forgot to tell you that the pattern writer used Parfait Chunky for her yarn, and I'm using Premier Basic Chenille. So it is thicker yarn. It's a more of a blanket style yarn, and she used 8mm. No, I'm sorry. She used 6mm size eyes, but 6mm in this would definitely fall out. And also, I don't have 6mm eyes. The smallest I do have is 10, but even a 10 would fall out of this. So I am going to use a 14mm eye, and I will put this link down below because I have problems with my hands with rheumatoid arthritis. Someone recommended these safety eye backs to me. They're a little different than the regular safety eyes. So this is the regular safety eye back. And as you see, hopefully you can see that clear enough. It's a plastic, but it's just got the circle on it. And they're really hard to get on for me. And they also come off really easily. So this is the one that someone recommended to me that is much easier, I found, on my hands. So if you can see the comparison, it's got a little bit of a slit, but they also stay on so much better. This one isn't focusing very well. Wanting to focus on my fingernails there, but there is a difference, and these do form to the safety back or to the eye much easier. So I'm going to put those on now. So it recommends in between rows 5 and 6 and 3 stitches apart. I fold my project in half. I find my row that I need to put it on. So between 5 and 6. And then I go ahead and put one in just so I can see where it's at. And then I put one in directly on the opposite side. And I can see that my backs are touching. So they're in the same row. They are equivalent, but they want them 3 stitches apart. So I'm going to go ahead and move this one over, and you want to count the stitches here underneath of the eye. I can't really see 3 visible stitches, so I'm going to go ahead and move this one over as well, and then I know that it's in the middle of my project. Now that actually looks like it might be a little too far apart. Because of the size of the eyes, I am going to go ahead and move it over the one more. As long as it's centered and you can see them on the plushie, that's what's important. And then these are so easy to snap on. Hear those clicks? You can hear them. It was easy. My hands did not hurt at all. And that's most important to me, because if you know, you know. If you suffer from chronic pain, then you know that that can be horrendous on your hands as far as pain wise. And there we go, we got them both in. Here's what it's looking like so far. And I'm also going to tell you guys a little trick if you've never done this. The bottom of this, sometimes you get like some stitches that kind of poof out a little bit. What I do is I turn my plushie inside out. Might be a little hard with this being not very many stitches around. Oh, see that one I didn't have on. Oh, you know why? Because I used the old one. I used the old back. Okay, so that was a prime example of why I don't like to use those backs. I should have known because I didn't hear it snap. Snap. That's when I know I got the right one. But, okay, so what I do here is, see how this has like a little bit of a stitch out? And I want this to be as flat as I can. So what I do is, of course, you want to make sure your magic ring is as tight as you can without breaking your yarn. I will take my darning needle and take my tail from my magic ring, and I will go through these stitches that kind of stick out a little bit, and that way it kind of pulls them into the middle of the plushie so that they're not so prominent on the outside. And then I can have my plushie looking better, and it pulls that magic ring sometimes a little tighter, because we all know that if you do use chenille yarn, that sometimes it is hard to get that magic ring super tight. And I'm just going through those stitches, and that way it takes all of those. Now I don't want to pull too tight. It is going to, you know, pull it a little bit tight in there, but once you turn the plushie inside out, you will see that it doesn't affect the outside of the plushie. It actually just makes it so it's not quite so poofy. So it just helps bring me security, and knowing that that is nice and tight in there. Stitches aren't going to be popping out. Stuffing isn't going to be falling out. And then I did do my 6 rounds, so I can go ahead and take this off. And then this does say to do a smile in there, so it is optional, of course, but I like to go ahead and do my smile before I stuff it and all of that, if it's possible. And then that way I can tie and secure my yarn inside. I can see where my smile is, so much easier to go ahead and embroider that in, and then I don't have to worry about doing it and pulling stuffing out later and all of that good stuff. Almost in between the eyes, go ahead and go across, and this is why it recommends 3 stitches between, but I don't really have 3 stitches because of the size of my eyes. All right, so we have a smile. Would have liked it to be a little bit further apart, but it is what it is. And tie me a knot on the inside of that, and then I know it's nice and secure. And then we have our eyes in, we have our smile in, and now it is time to stuff. And make sure that you're shaping as you're stuffing that in. So let's move on to the next row. So now to continue on with the round. Okay, so I got the top all done, and this is what it's looking like. I want a little bit more stuffing up here, and we only have 4 single crochets around here, so a itty bitty tiny hole. So let me show you a little bit of a tip that maybe some of you may not know. What I do if I want a little bit more stuffing up here and I have a small hole is I'll go ahead and take just a pinch of stuffing. I'll put it on top of that hole, and then I use a chopstick, and I just gently go ahead and push that down into there with that chopstick. It's not pointy, so I'm not at risk at cutting anything, and I can go ahead and get a little bit more stuffing in there, because you know, if you're trying to do, first of all, a round of just 4 single crochets, it's very hard to do, and so you don't have much room, and you don't want to stuff that full of stuffing and then you can't get your stitches in. So I just use this little tip and go ahead and get a little bit more in there. I don't want to overstuff it, but I want to make sure that it maintains a shape. And in order to get that shape maintained, sometimes you just need a little bit more in there. So now I have that in there, and gives a little bit more of a fuller look up here than just a, you know, raggedy flat surface. And then I can go ahead and close this up, cinch that tight. And then see how it's kind of pointed, and I don't want it pointed. So what I do is go ahead and go straight down, kind of get my needle coming out somewhere. It's okay to do this because you can reshape it. Pull that through, and then I can kind of do just a little bit of a pull to give it a little bit more of a flat top, opposed to a curved top. And there we go. And then I just need to hide my yarn. Want to make sure that my stitch didn't create a hole in my stitch. So I can take the end of my needle and just push that out, and see a little bit more came, or a little bit of that brown came through. So I want to make sure that it's down in there. And then just pull that stitch up a little bit more so that doesn't create a hole. And see how that's kind of sticking out a little bit? What you can do is cut a little piece of yarn, and thread it through your darning needle. And I'm going to come out on the outside of my magic ring, and I'm going to do it here towards the front so that it'll pull it this way, because this side's flatter. As you see, this side is a little bit flatter than over here. So I want to pull it out, or pull it over here, and then go this way to pull this down a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and just insert my needle to the outside of that magic ring. Take it through my magic ring, back out through the same stitch as my needle, and that, oh, that wasn't in the magic ring. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it again. Make sure I get on the outside of that magic ring. Go down through. Out that same stitch. There we go. Now I know I'm in the middle because it's a little tighter. And then see how flat that is compared to what it was before. Because I want it to be able to sit up nice and flat. That way it sits nice and flat. And then I can just go ahead and tie these in a knot. Be careful not to pull it too much tighter because you don't want to bring it in even further once you get that perfect spot. Then depending on if you could use a little bit more stuffing or not, you could cut that off or keep it because it's pretty much trash. And then put it in. There we go. Now I just need to do the legs and the leaf. All right, so our little jelly cat acorn is done. And I did let the pattern writer know that the slip stitch was missing in there, and that was the only thing that I found. Not real happy with how my leaf turned out, but it's not really supposed to curl. They have a curly one and a straight one, but I don't know. I used the half a double crochet, but I don't know. It's cute. It does sit, not able to really show you without turning you around, but it will sit, and I don't know. Here we go. Little jelly cat acorn pattern test is done. So I will go outside and take pictures of that tomorrow in the trees or with the trees. And now I'm going to move on to a whip, and I am working on Hazel the Horse by Jenny Loopy Doo. I have the body done with the eyes and the face shaping done. And I have 2 legs done. So I have 2 more legs to do, the mane of the horse and the tail, and then this will be all done. I did forget to tell you guys that for this horse, Hazel the Horse, I am using Premier Basics Chenille, and for the body, I'm using Rust. So Premier Basics Chenille in Rust. For the mane and the hooves, I am using Seal Cut Oats. And then I did use, this is just the color white for the little piece in the center of the face. And then I will use it also for the details on the back. And I am using a 6mm hook with this. I started with the 6mm hook, so I will continue with that until it is done. And yeah, so that's what I'm working on now. And I used what size eyes did I use? I think I used 14mm eyes on this, either 14 or 16mm. I do apologize, I don't remember, but they look about the same as the jelly cat. Yeah, they look about the same size as the jelly cat, so I believe it was 14mm. And yep, so I'm continuing on and getting my Hazel the Horse done. I've never done a horse before, so I'm really excited to see how this turns out. Oh, and I'm watching a movie on YouTube on my computer, Who Kidnapped My Daughter. So that's what I'm watching while I finish up my horse. So now I have all 4 legs done, and now it's time to move on to the ears, because I forgot that the horse has ears too, right? So I'll check in when I get those done. So check in, I got both the ears done, the tail, the mane. So now I just gotta put it all together. If you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I hate sewing, but gotta do it for this pattern. So about to put everything together, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. Check in real quick. Leave it to Miss Ivy. She found my eye back. Of course she did. Okay guys, it's done. Here is Hazel the Horse, And one of the reasons why I did this is that I actually just got a custom for a, somebody wants a horse snuggler and also a Highland cow snuggler. So I'm going to do Stitches by Patty's Highland cow, or her cow pattern, and she has a plushie pattern for the Highland cow. So I'm going to combine those two to make the cow snuggler, the Highland cow snuggler. And I wanted to do this horse pattern because I kind of like the idea of like a laying down horse for a baby to hold that is a snuggler. So I wanted to do this one to see if I could like modify it to make it into a snuggler pattern instead. And I think I can. What I would do is crochet these into the round and probably do like half double crochet for the body instead. And yes, as always, a visitor, but or lay down. Okay, yes, I always make sure that there's no cat hair left on my desk, and then hand sanitize the hands to ensure that I touch the plushies with clean hands. Anyway, I think I can do it with half double crocheting these. I'm going to crochet these in the rounds, not stuff them. These are lightly stuffed, which is what the pattern calls for. But I just like the idea of the baby or child to hold it and then have the horse looking up at them. So I sent her this pattern and told her I could make it and possibly make it into a snuggler, and I think I can. But I wanted to go ahead and check it out and do it, and I've never done a horse before, so I think it's really cute. So it's Hazel the Horse by Loops and Knots Crochet, and it is available on Etsy as a paid pattern. So continuing on with Whip Wednesday, I do have this Kirby that I had started in purple, and it will be a bag charm or keychain. And so I'm going to finish that up. I did order eyes. When I ordered them for the Labubu, I ordered eyes also for the Kirby. And this is from Crafty Kolb's Crochet. And so I have these to put on for the eyes. I think they'll look really cute on there. But I'm going to go ahead and work on that. And I will be back and show you what it looks like when it's all done. Kirby is all done. Put on the eyes with hot glue and a little bit of blush. We did a darker purple for the feet. So now we have a keychain, bag charm, Kirby. So since my last video, I have gotten a few things done. I've been trying to take it slow because, you know, as I explained in the last one, of my rheumatoid arthritis acting up on me. But I did get some items done for this week, and so I'm going to show those to you right now. First, we have Theo the Teddy Snuggler, and this is by Stitches by Patty. I did a pattern test for this a while back, and I just wanted to make another one because I'm absolutely in love with this pattern. All of her snugglers, I love them because of the size. It's a decent size, but I did embroider the eyes on these. Aren't those cute? I really love how these turned out, but I think they turned out really good. I used a Bernat blanket, perfect phasing, something and spice or something spice. I don't remember, but I used the last of it, and I hope I can get my hands on some more of this because I love the different colors that are in it. And as you can tell, there's a little bit of differentiation here where it phases into from a lighter to a darker. So I don't know, I'm in love with this color and I hope I can get some more. But guys, I have to show you. So as you know, I went on the Refined Vibes retreat, and I had the pleasure of meeting Stitches by Patty. But it was the weekend before my birthday, and they kind of threw me a, you know, like a little birthday surprise while I was there, and which was fabulous. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you go check it out. But I had expressed that I had wanted Stitches by Patty's teddy bear from her when she was doing a bunch of them in her video. And I fell in love with the pattern before I even pattern tested it. And I told her, if that bear does not sell, I want to buy that bear, because I was in love with the bear. So for my birthday, she gave me the little bear. So look, Stitches by Patty's bear, my bear. Look at that. He has a little baby. Isn't it just so cute? I love it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to part with this, because now it's kind of like, they kind of like go together. And I don't know, I might have to keep it just because it's so cute. So the next pattern is the Mini Birds by Jenny Loopy Doo. And I did the little goose. This one I did with embroidered eyes. This is a perfect size for a baby. This one I did with regular eyes. Look at them. And then I did a mallard one with regular eyes. And just look at those. Aren't they just too cute? This is what they look like. I think these are just adorable. Next I did Freya the Floral Nymph. And this one is by Loops with Lauren. I bought this pattern like when it first came out, and I fell in love with it and just had never done it. So because I'm doing my Palmstreet, I can't do in-person markets right now because my health is not up to par, and I can't do them alone, and it's a lot of work. So with Palmstreet, I can do them right here in my craft room, and all I have to do is basically set up a table with my stuff, show it, and sell my items from right here in my home, and it's much easier on me. And yeah, so super cute. I did run out of the skein that I was using of the, I think it's Warm Vanilla, and I did have more skeins, but this is just a little bit, I don't know, yellower. I don't know if you can tell if it's showing on camera, but I'm going to go ahead and just offer a discount on this one. I would probably normally charge, because this was a lot of sewing, I would probably normally charge about $35 for this at least, but I'm going to knock off at least $10, I think, for the ears being just a little bit different colors. So, but I think it's super cute. The pattern was really good. The arms and the legs, I think, could have been worked into the pattern instead of being sewn on. And so if I did it again, I would definitely work them into the pattern. But I think it's really cute. I put little eyelashes on it. All right, next I did Patches the puppy. Look. Super cute. I did Bernat in this one as well, but I think it's really cute. The arms and legs were sewn on, I think. I think these were sewn on, or in the pattern it had you sew them on, and I worked them into the round instead because I don't like to sew. But I did have to sew on the ears and the muzzle. So, but yeah, super cute. Patches. I can't remember who this is by right now. For some reason, I'm thinking Madeline May Co. But if I have that wrong, I will put it up here and let you know. I'm saving my last three for last because they're my favorite. But I have one more before those three. And this one is Fernando the Frog by Poggy Place. And super cute. I wanted to try a little bit of a different pattern, and I think it's cute. I like the little lip on it to give it like some definition there. And I lied. Oops. I did do another pattern before my favorite patterns. This was a free one on Instagram by Crochet Stuffies by B. That's B-E-E. And it is a football. Now, I did this in a blue and like a darker yellow, but the reason why I did this is, oh, Logan, if you're watching, my little nephew plays football, and these are his football colors, and so I made this for him. I do plan to put like a little, I don't know, I'm debating on a keychain or whatever. He's about to be 12 in January, so I don't know. But Logan, if you're watching, let your dad know if you want a keychain on this to put it on a bag, or if you just want to set it on your dresser, but hopefully he likes it. And now on to my favorites. So if you know, this October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and breast cancer awareness, first 17 years ago, one of my best friends was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she went through all the treatment. She had a double mastectomy, and 1 year later, exactly in October as well, 16 years ago, she lost her battle with breast cancer. So she did teach me how to knit. Didn't go very far, but and then I also did a dishcloth. I think I crocheted a dishcloth. She tried to teach me to crochet, but I didn't really pick it up then either. But anyway, one of the things that she did was she loved to do like blankets and sweaters, and she did all kinds of clothing, hats, scarves, all that. So she, we had a mutual friend that loved Winnie the Pooh, and my sister loved Eeyore. So she always crocheted stuff that was Winnie the Pooh for this friend. And then my sister, she had done some Winnie the Pooh stuff for when she had her first son. But so I've kind of been inspired to do Winnie the Pooh this month, kind of in honor of my friend Chris. Rest in peace. I loved her so much, miss her so much. And so I did Fennec Toys, Winnie the Pooh. Isn't it cute? Love it. And then I did Eeyore. I am in love with this Eeyore. Absolutely adore it. Oh, I did these in Basics Chenille, and they are so super soft. But I don't know. I don't know if I can part with Eeyore, guys. Isn't it absolutely adorable with a little bow on the tail? I'm in love. But yes, I'm gonna have a hard time parting with a lot of these this week. I've been crocheting things that I've put on the back burner that I've been wanting to do, and that I just haven't done because I've been market prepping. And with market prepping, you do so many small items, multiples of small items. They're not things that I wanted, and it's gonna be really hard to part with these. I think my next absolute favorite is this one. Oh my gosh. I am absolutely in love with this one. It is a Pooh snuggler. And just look at him. And his little face. Oh my gosh. Look at the body. It is so big. Like, look at that compared to me. It comes down to my chest. But I am absolutely in love with this one. Going to be hard to part with this one too, but you know what? It's a big ticket item, and I don't know if I can, if somebody wants it, then I'm going to have to part with it because the bill's got to get paid, right? But I'm absolutely in love with this one. This one is by, I'm not able to pronounce the name that this is by, so I'll put it up here on the screen. I will also link all these patterns for you guys in the description, as many as I can. But if you have any questions on who something is by and I wasn't able to link them all, just leave me a comment down below and let me know, and I'll be happy to answer any questions for you. I already told you that we got the Kirby done. We got the pattern test done for the acorn in this video, and we got Hazel the horse done. And then I showed you all the items that I got done this past week and my absolute favorites. Just look at all these. And I don't even have them all. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you in the next video.